everybody. Um, I am Sonya Hassan-Carey. Yep, that's me. And I'm here to talk to you today. I thought I would share with you a little bit of what I've learned about resilience in the face of rapid change. That's me. This is a movie that plays in my head all the time. And that's me running away from the boulder of unemployment and change. And it's not that movie that keeps me up at night where I'm scared. I'm that person in the movie that's made it. I'm running away from the trap door. I make it to safety, and I reach out at the last minute and grab my whip and my hat, and I've made it through another crazy, rapid change. I've worked in the animation industry for over 30 years. A little bit of this talk is going to age me, but I'm still very young. We definitely worked on paper when I started, and there was always a little bit of technology involved. So with paper, we used to shoot to film, cameras were involved, and I was always a little bit more interested in the technology side. After a while, along came a new sort of technology called CGI. And CGI was introduced sometime around 1995. And with the success of Toy Story, which most of you probably saw, it was kind of decided that paper was no longer the way to go, and we would shift to CGI. So almost overnight, paper went away. I was lucky enough to work on the last two features that were done on paper, The Princess and the Frog and Winnie the Pooh. And one that we really don't talk about much was called The Ballad of Nessie. And if you look it up, you'll see why I have a fear of plaid to this day. There was so much plaid to be hand-painted in that movie, and so I stay away from that. So now CGI, very successful, but along comes a new bit of technology, and that's called AI. And what AI means is that we are facing kind of this fantasy of budget cuts that are unparalleled. So in the 1930s, it would cost about $1 million to make a nice animated feature. And then sometime around 1995, it was around $30 million to make an animated feature. And today we're up to upwards of $200 million to make an animated feature. And with the success of Flow recently, which you may or may not have seen, it got the Oscar this year for Best Animated Feature. Its budget was done at around $4 million. And everybody, executives and executive producers would like that budget to come back. Even though Flow was not made with AI, we're going to call it the AI solution. Why can't we make big Hollywood features using AI and bring the budgets back to where they used to be in the 1930s? What AI does is it takes all of our artwork and it scrapes it together, anything that's ever been published to the internet, and it repurposes it through AI engines and AI engineers, and prompt artists will use our artwork to create new films with existing artwork. So this is Ghibli I wanted to show. Ghibli is definitely at the forefront right now. This is not done by Studio Ghibli. This is done by a child and her father who did this with Ghibli artwork, and probably in about 2 weeks, as opposed to the 10 years it normally takes to make a Ghibli feature. If you have a really good eye, you can see that this is AI, it's not Ghibli. So, every time there is a pitfall, and when I graphed my life, I could see, okay, paper was doing really well, along came CGI, and for us in animation, it's literally almost overnight. So you can see the big drop off with paper in the red. And then the resurgence of CGI is taking off, and now we have a massive drop off due to the idea that AI will be able to replace artists. There is always massive unemployment, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of job loss during these times of drop-off, especially for those who still want to live around the paper era. They have been in that drop-off since 2009. But then I looked at I'm in blue, and that's me. I wish I could have animated this, but I'm running uphill with that boulder chasing me, but somehow I'm on a slow and constant incline during the face of change, where I definitely should be down in those pits. I look behind and I can see it actually coming for me. So at the end of 2023, definitely I was at that point where I thought I wasn't going to make it under the trap door, but once again, I was saved and I was doing something else that also took me up into being a college professor, which I never saw coming. So I wanted to think about how do I stay resilient in the face of change, especially in an industry where aesthetically I don't really fit in all the time. So I wanted to share my secret formula for resilience, which won't just work for me, but I'm hoping it will work for all of you to come up with your own secret formula. Education. I definitely went to university and I got a degree, and so will you. And sometimes you leave university and you never look at that degree again. You're doing something completely different that you never expected to do. But education for me, it wasn't really about my degree. It was about becoming a deeper thinker, thinking in 3 dimensions instead of 2, meeting people from around the world at college, networking, and learning to really think outside the box and beyond my family. I'm learning all the time still. Education doesn't end when you graduate. I still teach myself math, science, software, hardware. I'm an animator, so I'm always thinking about technology, and any moment that I have, I'm learning something new. Courage. I definitely had Hollywood dreams, and I decided, to pursue that dream and the things that I wanted to do. I did have to leave home and take a risk and move to California. I'm from Toronto, Canada, typically, but I took a risk and I went to California, and I got a job on the Ren and Stimpy show, and I didn't even really know what animation was, but that little risk gave me my career. On the Ren and Stimpy show, I was definitely, at the time, there were no people that looked like me, and definitely not too many women. So I was offered a job in reception or administration, and that was just not what I wanted to do. So I, with confidence, offered to teach myself, because I wanted to do what the camera people were doing, who happened to be all men at the time, and I wanted to do that technical job that they were doing, and so nobody would teach me anything. I stayed after work, I taught myself. I failed a lot. At the time we were working in big rooms, mastering our films to 1-inch tape with those reel-to-reel technology, and it was very daunting, and I did mess up sometimes, but I didn't take that anger and that hostility personally. I took it as a learning experience, and so I had the confidence to fail and also to step into a world where I really just didn't belong. Anticipation. I read all the time. No matter what you're doing, there will be trades, magazines, white papers, articles related to what you're doing. I read reports on AI every morning just to see what's happening. I read about studios that are hiring and what they're doing now and what the budgets are going to be. And I really anticipate change instead of just walking into it and waking up in the morning and, it's called, what do they call it, putting out fires, or you can put out fires or you can anticipate them. So I like to stay ahead of the game, and it's something I definitely encourage you to do, The world is changing very rapidly, and don't think that anybody is immune to that. So read a lot. Read about every industry. Read what is coming your way, and definitely read the reports on AI and how it affects all of us. Control. I realized that the world should be fair. I should get a seat at the table. I should be paid equally. I should be getting what I deserve. And that can really make you cranky, but I realized I can't control the universe, but I could control my own universe. And so I built a little space where I was in control. I started a little business called the Animation Lounge, and it was just me teaching software. I love technology, and I like to teach people how to think outside the box using software to get things done in a classical way, but getting it done quicker, and still keeping the beauty of classical animation alive. So I just learned a little bit of technology, which I love, and I control my environment when nobody says no to me. I make my own little films, and I teach the way that I want to. With that bit of control and the Animation Lounge, it allowed me to be seen by a college here in California. I was in Toronto all this time. And just when I was about to fall into that pitfall at 2023, that bit of control and the teachings of the Animation Lounge were seen, and I was rescued once again and came here to teach in California and teach my way of animating, making a super animator who can understand budgets, animate, and run a whole studio on their own. Instead of just trying to be a part of the system, you are the system. Motivation. I, like everybody else, am really motivated by money. Money is everything. I need it to eat and travel and just live. It is really the core of my motivation. And my children definitely motivate that need to have money. I was a child of immigrants. We had nothing, and we moved around with our suitcases. And I didn't have a legacy, but for me it was so important that my kids have a legacy or a piece of property or something that I could leave behind. So they highly motivate me, and your motivation might be different to mine, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely motivated by money, and I'm always increasing my worth. And you see my graph is always, some people are very frustrated if the incline isn't like this. I'm okay with a slow and steady incline, and I set those little goals for myself. And so here we are, my next incline. I do want to be a storyteller, and often I have felt like that's not possible for me. But I was like, wait, in my own environment and with my own super animator mentality, and a little bit of AI, because I'm not going to run away from AI. It's here to stay. It's getting stronger, better. I talk about it like it's an entity, but it's, engineers are popping up little bits of software every day that can regenerate animation, can regenerate artwork, like in an amazing way. And we are definitely facing a time in animation that is very scary, but I'm hoping what I teach my students is that be resilient. Find your key to resilience, find your formula. I wear resilience like a cloak, like it's my kryptonite against change, and so can you, and so can they. So my message to you is find a way. You will fall into little pitfalls of life, especially right now. Things are always changing. Change is inevitable. It is the 100% certain thing that we can count on, is that things will change. The planet, technology, politics, and you can't let that make you fall into that pitfall. You have to put on your secret formula, wear your resilience, and become a resilient superhero, which I think I might actually write that story down later today. We just made a new movie. But that is my message for you, and I thank you for listening.